Emily Carter stared at another rejection email, wondering how one simple message could feel so much heavier than a few words on a screen. She had just failed another interview, and this time the silence afterward hurt even more than the rejection itself. Around her, successful professionals hurried into their offices while Emily remained frozen on the bench, questioning her own future. She tried to hold back her tears, reminding herself that giving up had never been part of the dream she once believed in. Inside her wallet remained only a few dollars, barely enough to get through another day of job searching. Coffee had become a small luxury, yet she bought one anyway because hope needed something warm to hold onto. She thanked the barista with a gentle smile, grateful for even the smallest act of kindness. Looking up at the office tower, Emily imagined herself walking through those glass doors as a real employee someday. Just months earlier, graduation day had felt like the beginning of everything she had worked so hard to achieve. Her father had spent years working long hours, believing his daughter's education would open doors he never had. Her mother quietly sacrificed comfort every single day, always encouraging Emily to chase a brighter future. That evening, the family celebrated her graduation with simple food, proud smiles, and dreams too big for their modest home. Emily believed it would only be a matter of weeks before she found her first professional job. She imagined herself building a successful career inside one of the city's impressive office buildings. More than anything else, she dreamed of buying her mother a brand new washing machine to replace the old one. Every interview morning began the same way, carefully preparing the only professional outfit she owned. She polished her shoes until they looked almost new, hoping first impressions might change her future. Before every interview, Emily practiced introducing herself again and again, determined to sound more confident each time. On the bus ride downtown, she reviewed every note she had prepared, refusing to waste another opportunity. Standing outside the office building, she took one deep breath before stepping through the revolving doors. Inside the interview room, Emily answered every question with honesty, determination, and quiet optimism. Walking out afterward, she allowed herself to believe she had finally done enough. But later that evening, another rejection email arrived, quietly breaking the hope she had carried home. The next morning, she submitted another application without hesitation, refusing to let disappointment decide her future. Days became weeks as interviews, applications, and rejection emails blended into one exhausting routine. Still, Emily continued walking into every new office believing the next opportunity might be different. She thanked another interviewer politely before leaving the building, even though deep inside she already feared the answer. Each new rejection email slowly chipped away at the confidence she had once carried so proudly. Night after night, Emily refreshed her inbox, hoping tomorrow would finally bring good news. Every vibration from her phone filled her with hope for just a few seconds before disappointment returned. Some nights she simply closed her laptop, exhausted not from working, but from trying so hard to find work. Yet even after another unsuccessful interview, Emily refused to stop walking forward, one step at a time. She walked alone beneath the evening sky, unaware that the hardest part of her journey was quietly preparing her for the greatest lesson of her life. Another interview, another waiting room, another chance to prove she belonged. Emily answered every question carefully, trying not to let her growing anxiety show. The interview ended with another polite handshake and another familiar smile that revealed nothing. As she walked down the office steps, she searched for any reason to believe this one had gone differently. 2 days later, another email arrived. They had chosen someone else. Instead of giving up, Emily opened her resume and began improving every single line. She rewrote her cover letter again, determined to make every word stronger than before. Night after night, she studied companies, practiced interview questions, and searched for ways to become better. She rehearsed her answers until confidence slowly replaced hesitation. Recording herself felt uncomfortable at first, but it revealed mistakes she had never noticed. She watched every practice session honestly, correcting every nervous habit she could find. Weeks turned into months, but Emily refused to stop improving. Meanwhile, the bills kept arriving, reminding her that time was running out. Her savings were almost gone, and every dollar suddenly mattered. She canceled every unnecessary expense, choosing hope over comfort. Simple meals became her daily routine as she stretched every remaining dollar. Selling her old camera was painful, but surviving had become more important than memories. Watching her bicycle disappear down the street felt like saying goodbye to another piece of her old life. Still, she whispered to herself that every sacrifice would be worth it someday. For a brief moment, she even considered selling her laptop. Then she closed it gently, realizing it was more than a computer. It was her bridge to every future opportunity. That evening, her mother quietly placed a white envelope on the kitchen table. Inside was money her parents could barely afford to give. Emily tried to refuse, but her mother smiled and reminded her that family never keeps score. They embraced tightly, sharing tears that needed no words. Alone that night, Emily cried for the first time in weeks. Not because she was weak, but because she felt deeply loved. The next morning, she stood before the mirror wearing the same blazer with a different heart. Interview number 27 became another opportunity to keep believing. The conversation flowed naturally, and for the first time in a long while, Emily left feeling truly hopeful. She allowed herself to imagine that perhaps this was finally the breakthrough she had been waiting for. But another rejection arrived, and with it came the crushing weight of disappointment once again. Emily wandered through the crowded streets, surrounded by thousands of people, yet feeling completely alone. As the sun began to set, she sat quietly on an old park bench, unaware that one unexpected conversation was about to change everything. Emily sat in silence, staring at the resume that no longer felt like a ticket to her future. For the first time, she wondered if maybe the world was trying to tell her to stop. Everyone around her seemed to be moving forward while she felt completely left behind. Not far away, an elderly park janitor quietly swept the fallen leaves along the path. He noticed the young woman sitting alone, holding back tears she could no longer hide. Instead of walking past, he gently approached with a kind smile. "Long day?" he asked softly. Emily took a deep breath and admitted, "I've failed 27 interviews." The old man nodded, not with pity, but with understanding. "When I was your age," he said, "I was rejected 32 times." Emily looked up in disbelief. 32? He remembered carrying rejection letters from one company to another, wondering if he would ever succeed. Yet every morning, he got up and tried again. Eventually, one opportunity changed everything, including the day he met the woman who became his wife. Together, They built a loving family that became the greatest reward of his perseverance. Looking back, he realized none of those rejections had truly been failures. Failure doesn't decide your future, he said, quitting does. Those simple words reached deeper than any motivational speech Emily had ever heard. Before leaving, the old man gently tapped her resume and smiled. Then he quietly returned to sweeping the path, as though nothing extraordinary had happened. Emily watched him disappear among the falling leaves, replaying every word in her mind. That evening, she opened her laptop with a completely different purpose. Instead of deleting the rejection emails, she began reading every single one carefully. She created 2 lists: what employers had noticed and what she still needed to improve. For the first time, every rejection became a lesson instead of a wound. She realized the problem was not her dream but the skills she still needed to strengthen. Emily enrolled in free online courses and practiced every chance she could. She asked a close friend to conduct mock interviews and give honest feedback. Again and again, she recorded herself until confidence slowly replaced fear. Watching the latest recording, she finally saw someone she could believe in. Day after day, small improvements quietly transformed the person she was becoming. As the morning sunlight filled her room, Emily closed her notebook knowing she was finally ready. Carrying the same resume but a completely different mindset, she walked toward interview number 28. On the morning of her 28th interview, Emily walked in with something she had never carried before: quiet confidence. She no longer felt the need to prove she was perfect. She only wanted to be honest. As she waited, she took a slow breath and smiled, trusting that whatever happened next would help her grow. The hiring manager welcomed her with genuine warmth, and the conversation began naturally. This time, the interview felt less like an examination and more like 2 people getting to know each other. Emily answered every question with sincerity instead of trying to say what she thought they wanted to hear. The hiring manager listened carefully, noticing not only Emily's skills but also her character. Then came one final question: why should we choose you? Emily paused for a moment, not searching for the perfect answer, but for the truthful one. Because I've failed 27 interviews, she said, and every one of them taught me something valuable. The hiring manager lowered her pen, surprised by such unexpected honesty. Emily explained that rejection had taught her resilience, humility, and the determination to keep improving. At that moment, the hiring manager realized she wasn't interviewing someone who feared failure. She was meeting someone who had learned from it. They shook hands warmly, and Emily left feeling peaceful, no matter what the decision would be. For the first time, she walked away without replaying every answer in her mind. 3 days later, her phone rang while she was making a simple cup of coffee. She hesitated before answering, afraid to hope too much. Then she heard the words she had waited months to hear. "Emily, we'd love to offer you the position." Tears filled her eyes as months of disappointment melted into overwhelming gratitude. She smiled through happy tears, knowing every rejection had led to this moment. Her parents embraced her with pride, celebrating not only the new job but also the person she had become. Emily's first day at work marked the beginning of a career built on perseverance rather than luck. Over the years, she earned respect through kindness, hard work, and a willingness to keep learning. Eventually, Emily became a hiring manager herself, sitting on the other side of the interview table. On her desk sat a simple reminder that success is measured not by how many times we fall, but by how many times we rise. One day, a nervous young applicant walked into her office, carrying the same uncertainty Emily once carried. Emily listened with patience, remembering exactly how fear had once sounded in her own voice. Looking at the young applicant, she quietly remembered an old man in a park who had changed her life with just a few words. Every rejection, every sacrifice, every lesson had become part of the person she was now. As she left the office that evening, Emily smiled, grateful that she had never given up. Sometimes the greatest success isn't getting the job, it's becoming the person the journey was shaping you to be. So if life closes another door today, keep walking. Your 28th opportunity may be waiting just around the corner.